Hello and welcome to another edition of the Skycast from Fantasy Football Scout. It's a sort of Sky Sports fantasy football version of the FPL focused Scoutcast. Luckily in Sky, not FPL, there are 2 game weeks over this torturous winter schedule. Game week 28 in Sky concludes tonight when Man City play West Ham, and then we move on to game week 29 this weekend and possibly away from our City assets. So we've got a picture of Jimenez in the thumbnail there and very much in people's thoughts as a replacement there. My name is Joe and joining me is Luke. Luke, how are you?
I'm good. We're finally getting to the end of this game week.
Yay.
Just tonight's game to go. I literally cannot wait. I just need it to be over. Even though Sky broke it up into 2, it still feels really long in this game. And having the game move to now is kind of like built up my tension in regards to will Aguero start, will he not, captain, all that stuff. So I just want to get it done now, and hopefully it ends with a bang and we can move on from this game week.
Yeah, and just make it go away.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been waiting so long. It was so long ago that I decided to get Aguero in and captain him for this game that it's almost historic. It's like
yeah, exactly. And look how much could have changed in that. The time we actually made the decision to get him into now, he could have got injured. Could have flown to another country. We already did that. Fly to another country.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So much could have happened. But there we go.
Yeah. So now what we're doing today, we're going to go through our own teams. We'll go through some of the changes we've made, the changes we're planning to make, captains as such. But also notice there's some people who are increasingly new to the Sky game. I know on the Scoutcast last night, which is FPL focused, we managed to tempt someone to join Sky and join the game, and that's FPL Partridge, who is well known to those who follow the FPL community on Twitter. His posts are excellent, so do give him a follow. But he has made a team for us. So he's made a team, and he's going to get going on a second team at some point. So I said what we'll do is we'll give him we'll rate my team, and this is quite a good chance really to explain what some of the differences are between Sky and FPL. So I'll put his team up really, and just before we have a look at that in general and give our thoughts on that. Luke, what are for someone who's plays FPL, they've never played Sky before, they want to play Sky, what are the key differences?
It's a much better game, Joe. No, well, for some of us think so. The differences really are just that you've got a limited amount of transfers. I guess that's one of the main differences. You give 40 for the whole season. Mm-hmm. And when you think about it, it's not actually that different from FPL. Obviously, if you made one transfer a game week through FPL, you'd be on 37, 38 transfers for the whole season. So it's roughly around the same. It's just obviously FPL gives you that option to take hits to do more if you want to. So it's sort of managing your transfers throughout the season is a bit different, and that's quite a key part of the game. Mm. Also, making changes within a game week, which obviously you can't do in FPL, is another key factor. So between the Saturday and the Sunday, you could potentially make a transfer for a player who played on Saturday and bring in a player who plays on Sunday, therefore getting 12 players in essence. And also you have a captain for each individual match day where you keep the points. So it makes it kind of exciting and very much dependent on hitting captains to do really well in this game, actually. So planning well ahead, making sure you've got players in for games where there's only one match on that particular day is important. And it kind of lends itself to the players who are happy to do that, look far ahead and structure all those kind of things. Because in FPL, it's kind of, you can't really look too far ahead, I think, because there's price changes for one, which aren't in Sky, which can affect things. And it's an ever-changing landscape so quickly in FPL that in Sky, I can't really explain how actually. Why is it different that you can take forever in Sky? The prices are static. I guess that's the main factor. Yeah. So you can look well in advance. Think I want this player for this particular period.
Yeah, you'll be able to afford them because.
Yeah, exactly. And in FPL, you're almost forced to act if a player's going down in price and another player's going up. So I guess that's what I mean by that. They're kind of the main differences, really. But also the scoring is obviously a little bit different. And I think Sky brings more players to the fold. So we've got passing tackles that are rewarded. And therefore, players like Jordan Henderson, who I see is in FPL Partridge's team at the moment, can be really good picks. Where often the not so in FPL. Although he's not a particularly good example. I think he's been smashing it in
Yeah.
FPL as well for that reason.
Yeah, but essentially those sorts of maybe defensive-minded midfielders who are good at tackling, passing, that kind of thing. You sort of Kante and Didi, Jorginho, Harriata in the past. These types of players, they can actually get you some points in Sky, but FPL, fairly hopeless. So that's quite good. So a whole new bunch of players is opening up there. I like the fact you can have two teams. Now, I put this up before saying, oh, this is my second team in Sky. And people who are very FPL focused go, what are you doing with this? You know, almost accusingly, you know, like I'm cheating or something, having a second team. But in Sky, you're allowed. You have two teams. And a lot of people use that in different ways. But the way I personally use it is to be a bit different. So I can be slightly more maverick with put my maverick tendencies into one team, and I can be nice and dullard and boring in the other one. But other people do different things with it as well. So, there's no limit on the players you can have. So you could have a whole team of, well, I don't know if the budget would allow, but you could technically have an entire team of Liverpool. So if you're a Liverpool fan and you're backing them all the way, just get Liverpool in. Just get the team in. Maybe a risky strategy, but you never know. You never know in a season like this. So, let's have a look at his team. So, for the benefit of those listening, he's got Henderson in goal, Alexander-Arnold, Bolly, Pereira, Henderson, Ali, Maddison, Traore, and then up top, Aguero, Perez, and Mane. So he's gone for a 3-4-3 there. There's no bench in Sky, by the way. We were talking about this just before we came on air. I actually quite like this. I mean, there's a few tweaks I'd make, but basically he's got all the main captaincy days covered. It's a quite good Sky team, actually. Luke, what do you think? What changes would you make?
Yeah, when it's coming from FPL Partridge, I assumed it would be a joke team, but I looked at this and it was pretty good.
Yeah.
so yeah, he didn't make me laugh for once, but he also he opened my eyes to the fact that a new player can come straight into this game and basically have a very good grasp of it. So I think he's done really well here. It's been a change probably since he made that, with Henderson potentially getting injured last night.
Yeah.
I think he pulled hamstring, so you might want to obviously look at him, but he was a great pick. So well done on that one.
Yeah.
The thing I probably noticed the most out of this is the fact that he has got three Leicester in there, in Pereira, Maddison, and then Perez up top, which obviously for Leicester's good run, it makes kind of sense. But I think Perez's appeal in FPL is the fact that he's around the 6 million midfielder, and in Sky he's a 9 million striker. So I don't really like him as a pick in Sky. Also, I think it's probably because he wanted a differential Leicester captain, instead of Vardy, like a lot of people do. But probably isn't open to or understand the fact that Pereira is a great captain in Sky. So I'd argue he's a better captain than Perez is. So I would certainly look at changing Perez out, potentially for someone like Tammy Abraham, who's got great fixtures and is a little bit cheaper, and he's also got a couple of captain days as well, which would give him a little bit more money. Apart from that, the team looks great. The only thing with them, maybe change Henderson to a Liverpool defender just to get that double Liverpool defence, like most people are. And then I'd probably leave it. I think Ali's quite a good punt. Spurs have got quite a few days that I don't think many people will have Ali in their team, so it's nice to have that differential. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, there's a few other tweaks I make, apart from the ones you'd mentioned there. Consider Harvey Barnes instead of Maddison, to go a bit different as well. But as you said, Pereira's really got you covered for Leicester, I think. I captained Sionju the other day. That was a good move in the end, because Vardy didn't score. As a replacement for Henderson, I would think of Grealish. In FPL, blank and double game weeks are very important. They're less so in Sky. Just think how many games they've got. So if a player's got a blank, then they've got a double coming up. And because the player prices don't change, you can hop on and off. But all in all, because you've got the different match days, the way it works out, it doesn't matter as much. So getting Grealish in now, don't think, oh no, Grealish is skipping a fixture. Just get Grealish in, because he's going to get a double somewhere down the line. You've got limited transfers, so you don't really want to be getting Grealish in and out and that type of thing. So just get him in and just keep him in. That's the kind of method. There are other options. I said Harvey Barnes as well, and your option there I think is really good. Just get Robertson in and Van Dijk. And this game, so in FPL, Salah is the king and has been for the last 3 seasons. I can't remember how. It seems like forever he's been there. So we've had Suarez before. Imagine if Messi or Ronaldo was in there. But in Sky, Van Dijk is the king, because he's getting the passing, tackling. He shows up, he gets 5 points. Gets a clean sheet, gets more points. He scores, which he has an occasionally, even more points. And then he can also get man of the match bonus because, quite frankly, he's one of the men of the match most matches. Yeah, I like to see Van Dijk in there if he can somehow stretch to a Van Dijk. But other than that, that's really, I think that's got the Sky method and looking ahead at the, as you said, that's a key, isn't it? That's what you do. You plan out your captains over the next month or 2 months or so. You say, right, I know for these fixtures I'll probably captain so and so then, and I think FPL Partridge has nailed that.
He has. The thing that also stood out to me straight away is he's gone for the 3-4-3, the classic FPL lineup, which isn't probably the best one in Sky, but the players are great, so I couldn't really argue with it. And this season has been a bit of a change to previous ones, but because strikers have come back into the fold. But yeah, you want as many defenders and strikers as you can fit into your team, I think. So definitely look to trim that one midfielder and buff up the Van Dijk. Like I said, Perez to Tammy, Henderson to Van Dijk. That seems like a simple two.
That's the other difference there. People notice that Mane's up front, or Salah's up there as well. Son, if he was available, is up there. Basically, you haven't got. I mean, there's not a lot of midfield options in general at the moment. But there's certainly not in Sky. So it's basically KDB and some other blokes. And if you don't, and KDB is dispensable at the moment because of Man City's fixtures. So yeah, as you said, I would be looking at something like four at the back, 4-3-3, something like that, 4-4-2. Yeah, that's quite flexible.
I think 4-3-3 and 5-3-2 are probably the best formations at the moment.
Yeah, I think I've got something like 5-4-1 in one of mine, but we'll come to that a bit later because we've got two teams, first and second teams as well. What I want to do, we've had some Twitter questions and some live chat questions as well and comments. So we'll just go through some of those before we have a look at who's been doing well on bonus points recently, and also have a look at our teams and decisions as well. So here's questions. Hornet, a couple of questions from him. So after Saturday's match versus Leicester, Man City players perhaps need not feature for a few game weeks. Are we removing them, and if so, who for? And crucially, when? And this is quite a good notion to this. Do we move them on Saturday for a Saturday option, or do we move them on Sunday, or perhaps Monday when Liverpool play? So what are your plans for your Man City players, for example, and what would you urge, and what are the other, sort of the best options, do you think?
Yeah, I'm all for this, removing Man City players. The schedule's tough. They have blanks potentially. They're sort of an unknown at the moment in terms of where their headspace will be at. You know, the Champions League has gone potentially for the next 2 years. Then you've got the fact that the league has gone this year. I mean, mixed into the fact that Pep rotates anyway, it just looks like a minefield. I mean, we've basically had Kevin De Bruyne as pretty much our only option for Man City for the majority of the season. We've had sort of Sterling at the very beginning, maybe was slightly, and then sort of faded away quite quickly. And then we had Aguero, who's come in for the odd game here or there, who's been a real option. I think the hat-trick game stands out. I can't remember who that was against now, but outside of that, it's been grim. And I think most of us have probably got that Man City player in for tonight's game, which originally wasn't going to be tonight, and we plan to switch him out for a Liverpool player. I think I'm going to keep to that strategy. So it's going to be Aguero, I've got in one team, Mahrez in the other for tonight. Hopefully they play. Then they're going to play away to Leicester. Now there's a very good chance Mahrez or Aguero, who I've got, may not even play that game, but I'm just going to sit it out because Monday the 24th, they're premium assets. They'll be going to Liverpool, who are the best premium team right now. So I just load up with more of them. That's my plan, and I expect it's yours, Joe's.
I mean, I've got Salah already in place. Aguero to Mane looks a good bet for me. I've also got KDB in one team and Mahrez in another. So the Mahrez, I'm not sure. I'm looking at perhaps Danny Ings in for that one. So this is another question Ornit asks. He says, does no Ings on Saturday? He feels he could be the best captaincy option on Saturday.
Yeah, I think he probably is. He probably is the standout guy. He's in one of my teams. For that was part of the reason, because he isn't really captain with one on many days, despite him having really good fixtures. It was only this one that really stood out. But I still think if you've got Kevin De Bruyne away to Leicester, I still think he's a good backup captain for that day, assuming he plays. The other options that, the only one that people will probably have in a team will be a Sheffield United defender, maybe Henderson or a defender, and they're at home to Brighton. So you'd probably back them for a clean sheet in that one. Yeah. So if you're really struggling, you don't have Ings, you don't have Kevin De Bruyne, then they'd probably be my go-to over, maybe even over a Leicester asset. I'm not sure.
Well, I think Grealish as well again, because
that's a good point. I didn't even think about him. He could be a good option. I mean, even last week, I know he only got an assist, but he was the best player on the pitch by an absolute mile. So
he's always very close to getting more points there, or getting those points indeed. Yeah, you can captain him. He's 10 points. You get, you can obviously do better, hopefully. But I'm not going to sniff a 10-point return for a captain during the week. So I think he's a good option there. I mean, Dan Cox, who has won Sky Sports Fantasy Football, appeared in the live chat and was saying, what should we do when, if, I'm going to put the word if in, not when, if Aguero doesn't start tonight. So obviously that's another aspect for FPL Partridge to get to grips with Sky. So when you get the team sheets in FPL, there's not much you can do about it often, but in Sky you can. And I think on this occasion, I think you've answered it there. You sit tight. If you've got another City asset, move the captaincy to them if you've got it on Aguero. But I would hope that Aguero comes on and does something.
But this is where the fear plays a part. And again, why Sky, we'll go back to the very beginning. This is why this game is better for those of us who are more hands-on, because we can react to stuff like that. The lineup will come up 1 hour before on a Wednesday. Not everyone can react to that. Yes. So you're at an advantage if your heart's in it, basically. But it's the fear there. I don't know about that one, Joe. If I've got Aguero and Mahrez and I look at that team lineup and neither of those two players are in, my heart will absolutely sink, and I'll be put into a position. Do I want to potentially use a transfer for maybe just one game, because they might not play the Leicester game either. But it's such a game that you'd expect if Jesus started, for example, you'd probably back him for a brace, right? So
I think so. I think you want a captaincy. I think I'd be tempted if I didn't see either of those starting, and I own both of them. I'd be tempting to stick with Aguero captain, and hope. I hope he comes on at 60 minutes and scores a couple of goals. West Ham are that bad. I'll take 5 minutes of Aguero against West Ham than using a precious transfer, I think, for this. I don't know. That's just me, I think. I'd have a long sort of 59 minutes thinking about that one. I don't know the answer. Fear might get me in the end. Yeah, it's gonna be tricky. I think if you have no one else and you don't see Aguero, I'd be tempted to hold, but. I mean, to be honest, if I was going to react and get someone, like, say, if you see KDB starting and I didn't own him and my City assets weren't playing, I might consider getting KDB in, but then it would be for the long haul. I would get KDB in and then just go, right, KDB is now in my side.
Yeah, or I think actually Laporte probably fits the role pretty good. If he actually starts tonight, he's the Van Dijk light, if you like, or even he was even better than Van Dijk one of the season. So if he's back, then you would probably look at that as a 10-pointer potentially, and then obviously captain's 20 points. And if he's back and fully fit, we've said it before, he's one of the mainstays of the Man City team. If he's fit, then he plays. So I'd imagine, regardless of their situations, he will probably play every game from here on in, as long as his fitness allows it. So he might be an option.
Some more questions. Mark Bennett, he has Son. So well done if you got Son's points. You tipped him as a differential last time.
Yeah.
And I got him in my FPL side, sadly not my Sky team, but very pleased with his points. Not so pleased with his season-ending injury. I've just heightened the injury there. Season-ending injury. Mark Bennett asks, yes, Sam, who are the best replacements? Jimenez looks like a good bet. Jimenez plays on the Sunday. Perhaps Mane on Monday. So a similar question really to the Man City one. You've got a player you want to ditch, but best options. I guess it depends what your budget is.
Yeah, I think Jimenez, he's hit the nail on the head there. I probably think Jimenez is probably the best bet to cover captaincy as well. He's got a couple more days that you could use him yet for captaincy, so I think probably like him.
Yeah.
the most. He plays away to West Ham on Sunday, the 15th of March, where you got Spurs at home to Man United. So I'd say Jimenez is clearly the best captain on that day. He's also home to Brighton, 7th of March, Saturday. He's away to Spurs, 1st of March, where Everton play Man United. So it means that you don't have to go to Traore, who might score more than Jimenez, but I would back Jimenez above Traore most of the time. He's also home to Norwich, 23rd of February. So yeah, he'd be the one for me. Mane, definitely a consideration. Yeah, Liverpool assets, can't argue against any of them. Aside from that, the only other one I really thought about is Tammy Abraham, which I have in my team, and I feel a little bit unlucky because obviously he didn't play and he was in there for that captain day. Because I don't know if it was just me, but that news about him potentially being injured and missing the game basically come during this week where it's too late for us to really react to it. So I was just praying that he actually played. But moving forward, he's also got a few captain days. He's incredibly cheap. And the only worry there would be the fact that Chelsea just appear to be quite dreadful at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I had in my second team, I had Mount, and he wasn't going to start, but I just kept the captaincy on him. And it weirdly did actually come on for quite a significant part of the game, but did nothing. But never go. That's the risk you take. But I think out of the Chelsea assets, I think you're right. I think Abraham is probably the one to get there. But pay attention to the press conference video from Neil later this week. That's applicable for FPL and Sky. We just good information there. Another question. Joe Finley Barder he's coming in the top 500, so well done there, Joe. Play safe and get Salah. So he hasn't got Salah or Mane. This is a good question. Does he play? He wants to get one in. Does he play safe and get Salah? Salah is mega owned, or take a risk and go for Mane, who's a little bit cheaper and less well owned? What do you think?
Okay, this is obviously very tricky. When he says he's top 500, I always factor in, at the end of the day, are you going to win Sky from this position? I think it's very, very unlikely a win. Sorry to break that to him, but if that's the case. So what does he really want out of it? If he's in cash leagues and he's riding high and he's far above everyone else, then I guess it makes sense to play tactical, right? Just get Salah if everyone owns him, and then you'll probably sit yourself up there. But if you're not in any position to be winning any money, you just want to try and get as high a possible finish as you can get, then I would be tempted by the Mane option just to be that little bit different. I mean, it doesn't matter if you finish 500 or you finish 1,500 really, as long as it doesn't affect your money. So it is, to get that maybe top 100 finish and go for Mane, that's what I would be tempted with. Yeah. And there are only 5 points difference for the whole season, Salah and Mane. I think Mane's like 169 or something and Salah's 174. And bear in mind, Mane's probably missed quite a few more games than Salah. Overall, I know Salah wasn't quite at it at the very start of the season, but so Mane is potentially still the better option, I guess. It's just it's Salah at the end of the day. Like you said, for the last 3 seasons, he's been that guy. He takes a lot of shots, which is good for Sky. He's also got penalties, so I think it'll be much of a muchness come the end of the season. Mane's more of a threat from open play during the game for me, but they'll probably end very similar point wise. So. Yeah. Does he want to finish top 100? I'd be tempted to risk it, to be honest.
Yeah, I would as well. I mean, I have Salah in my main team, and my quandary is get both or just stick with Salah. And I think I like all that you just said about Mane, but I like the combination of Salah and Mane in Sky, particularly, especially because their fixtures are good at the moment. When that changes, when they win the league, on that date, will they just go down the pub? Will they actually turn up and play as they have been all season? I don't know, but for now, for the next few weeks, I think a double up could be quite interesting. I just want to move over to a new picture of this is the recent bonus points stars, really. So for the benefit of those new to Sky, you get bonuses for things like passing, tackling. They're called tiers. So you get a lesser one, a higher amount of points, and all the other things, your jobbing things that a footballer does, get rewarded. Shooting, for example. So what I've done is this time, I do it a bit differently each week, but this one is every last 2 game weeks. So I don't think that's going to be including Man City at the moment. So be aware. You mentioned Laporte, so be aware Laporte is not in this list at the moment. If he's playing tonight, he's going to be. put it that way, because he is an absolute bonus machine. But it just gives an example of the kinds of players that are picking up bonus. You can see those kind of central defensive midfielders, Daily Proper, Lewis Dunk as well at Brighton. Johnny at Wolves is an interesting differential. I don't think too popular because of his price. But the player I got in my main team, Bruno Fernandes, and the reason I quite like him, he's on doing quite well for bonus there. Got the assist. He looks like he's going to be getting the points because he's on all those set pieces and things. So I think, and to be honest, I mean, this isn't to put down. Well, it is to put down the rest of the Manchester United team. They're all rubbish apart from him. So
steady.
Well, Marcus Rashford's good, but he's injured at the moment. But
Fred's the best midfielder in the world now.
But Fernandes just simply looks like the best player in the Manchester United team. So at the moment, he just looks like the best player for the people deciding who the man of the match is. You would hope. Sometimes it's going to be like a Harry Maguire's going to score and that's going to turn a few heads. But I think still the sort of slick number 10 attacking midfielder tends to impress the man of the match people. So I think he's quite a good option there. Johnny Evans for Leicester. So if you want a Leicester defender and you don't want to get Pereira, then Johnny Evans could be an interesting pick there as well.
Yeah. The other one that's flagging up to me again is Mr. Wan-Bissaka. Now we know that he's obviously always in the frame for tackles and getting bonus. That's been his thing for a while. It dropped off for a little bit, but it seems to be coming back. He's playing right wing back at the moment because they're playing a back five Man United, so it advances him even more. Now he's obviously not very well known for his attacking threat, but in the last 2 game weeks he's had, I'm right in saying he's had the highest expected assist rate of any defender.
Okay.
And he has got an assist, or maybe even a couple of assists in the last 4 or 5 weeks, I think. When you put that together with the fact that Man United's defence is actually pretty damn good at the moment in the data. They're one of the best defensive teams around. I think them, Wolves, even Chelsea, just surprisingly, seem to be up there with them in terms of stats. So I think Wan-Bissaka is another name that you could throw into the mix.
I did toy with the idea of getting him in instead of Fernandes, but for some reason, I think it was in my second team, I couldn't get the formation. I wasn't allowed the formation that would enable me to get him.
That's the thing with Wan-Bissaka. He's a good pick, but he's also competing with basically the Liverpool defenders, which are just better. So it's hard to fit him in. But Bruno Fernandes is in that midfield slot where you just say there's a bunch of other random blokes there. So
just get him in. The best of the random blokes. But yeah, I agree with you, Wan-Bissaka there. That's sort of why I've extended this bonus a bit longer, so we can sneak Wan-Bissaka in, and also because it highlights what Son's appeal could have been. This is what you could have got for the next few weeks, and also Van Dijk is there. And if you're new to Sky, get used to Van Dijk getting bonus points for just showing up. I think there's some interesting options there. Capoue as well at Watford is always interesting at the moment. I don't know, just as a differential. Watford's fixtures turn, I think, in the 3 or 4 weeks. Become a little bit better, so towards the season run in, I don't know if they're in the running for any blank or double game weeks, so they may. I'm just saying that as a sort of a hopping on and hopping off point, but Watford could be a team to look at a little bit later. Game week 29 we've got coming up, finally, new game week. I'll put your team up in a sec, but tell me who your captain, your likely captains are on the. We've got three lots of captains: Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Who are your captains?
So obviously I've got 2 different teams, but on Saturday I have Ings in one of them, so he'll be my captain at home to Aston Villa. Villa's defence is just a shambles most weeks. I mean, Mings might be back, but he doesn't make that much of a difference, I don't think, overall. So. Yeah, I think he's probably the standout. In my other team, it'll probably end up being either a Leicester or a Sheffield United player. I'm not sure yet. I had thought about potentially Tammy Abraham, but it depends if he's back for the Spurs games. I think Spurs are also really high up on the list of the amount of chances they're conceding recently. A lot of chances. So Chelsea need to bounce back at some point, so that might be an option there. But that's those 2 teams. And then on Sunday the 23rd, we've also got Man United at home to Watford. I'd probably like to have Fernandes for that game, or Wan-Bissaka, but I don't. So it's going to be Mr. Jimenez home to Norwich and Traore home to Norwich in my other team, so backing Wolves for the Norwich game. I think that's a pretty sensible idea. Plus, Liverpool, Norwich have only scored 8 goals, I think it is, away from home all season. So if you've got the likes of Bolly or Doherty or someone like that, I think they could be a really good shout. I mean, he's always in the frame for a goal. Boley scored last week and got it ruled out. One of these guys is going to get a monster haul very soon. And that looks like a prime game to me where, Doherty or Bolly could be hitting 20 points. So consider that as well. And then we move on to Monday. It's Liverpool versus West Ham. If Van Dijk's in the lineup, he's probably going to be my captain, to be honest with you. It's just so easy. I just sit back and collect my 20 points. Thank you very much.
It always delivers. So for me, I'm a little bit different. On the Saturday, at the moment, I think I'll probably go for Grealish against Southampton, but I may bring in Danny Ings for one of my Man City players, possibly KDB. Other than that, I don't like the look of anyone, possibly Henderson for Sheffield United. But no, I think, for me, Grealish there. I guess reluctantly a Man City player against Leicester, but it's a bit too tough to call. If I keep maybe Aguero, if he's not, if it's a possibility that he'll play, but it's hard to tell. And
being a 5:30 game, that's a big risk, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big risk, and I can see why you like Abraham actually for the 12:30 fixture. So at least you can see the team sheet, so you can see whether he's going to start.
And Spurs with that many injuries and conceding that many chances, you'd like to see how they're actually going to play. Without Kane and Son, are they going to struggle? If Tammy's suddenly back in for Chelsea, is that a lift? I don't know. It sort of plays like that way in my mind, anyway, that he might be a good shout.
For me on the Sunday, I'm actually tempted by Fernandes for Manchester United, still low owned against Watford. I think that's a good fixture. I think Watford's defence is still better than it was at the beginning of the season, but without this is a bit weird. Without Sarr, it just sort of disrupts their attack a bit, and then that disrupts the whole flow. And I'm not sure, and I haven't actually been wholly convinced by the defence recently. It's why I haven't got Foster anymore in my FPL side. I just don't think at the moment is Watford's moment. Later,
I think that this is the games where Man United have struggled a lot in the past, where a team's going to sit deep and we don't really have any way to unlock them. We're really good at countering on people, but we're not necessarily good at unlocking. But now we've got Mr. Fernandes, who you would think will be absolutely key to unlocking that defence if we are going to win. So I really like him as a captain option for that day. I think he's got man of the match written all over it. Where it's sort of he's new into the league. He's played a couple of games now. People have realised his star quality. All the build up for that game on Sunday is going to be about that new man on Sky. You just know it will be. And I think if he does anything of note, he's going to be getting probably passing, probably whatever he gets, goal or assist, and probably man of the match. So good pick.
I think if I get Jimenez in, I've got a choice there, but I still think I'll go with Fernandes. But I may indeed get Jimenez in. It all just depends whether I want to captain him, whether I get him in, whether I get Ings in. I've got these 2 Man City slots. It just depends. Ings and Jimenez are in the running, so I don't know. But so too is getting Mane in. So on the Monday, I'm going to go for Mane, I think, or Salah. I'm going to go up top for those ones, and just I'm going to shun the chance to get my double Van Dijk monster haul and just hope that it's one of those matches where Salah or
when do Liverpool play the second tie of the Champions League? Is it in between the Monday the 24th and Friday the 28th? No, it can't be, can it? I
don't think it is. Someone in the live chat may be able to help us out on that one, but from my memory, it's not.
Okay, I'd have to check that, because if it was a few days after, I think that would sort of put me towards Van Dijk even more, just because they might be rested a bit. But it's probably the week after that. You're right. So
it's an absolute. I think it's possibly the Bournemouth game, and it's an absolute must-win Champions League game. So that's when I'll probably just be going for Van Dijk, captain in that one. So I think we've got the patch. So let's put your team up, really. So sort of explains a bit about what you're doing. So this is your main one. You've got Alisson, Van Dijk, Robertson, and Alexander-Arnold, Aurier there, and then midfield. So you've got 4-4-2. You've got Mahrez, captain tonight, Deulofeu, Traore, Grealish, and up top Ings, and Jimenez. Two strikers we've been mentioning a lot. So they're already in place for you there. I'm looking at your side there. Any particular changes you're going to be making other than the ones we've already discussed? For example, Aurier, are you happy to keep with him?
Yeah, so I had a choice between basically a Leicester defender or Aurier, and I was looking particularly at Pereira, I guess, in who fits that mould. They play the same position. They're both really good on tackles, and I just thought Leicester's defence has taken, dived off a cliff, and Aurier's a bit of a differential where he has a couple of days where I could use a Spurs captain that other people might not have. So that was my thinking behind the Aurier move. Didn't really work out because he obviously didn't get the clean sheet, hasn't got any attacking, and didn't get tackles, so it was kind of a nightmare. But then Pereira actually got the clean sheet for Leicester, which we weren't really expecting. So he's probably the one I'd maybe look at changing later down the line, but I'm happy for now. I'm going to ride it out for a few weeks and see how that goes. And then it's already what I've talked about really in that team. It's going to be Mahrez for tonight if he plays, hopefully. Probably going to keep him then for the Leicester game again, hope he plays. And then he'll be shipped out for Vardy just to cover the Leicester captain that I'm going to need moving forward. That was the plan with that one.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, seeing Ings and Jimenez there, that's the moves I'm considering, and you've already done it. So let's put your second team up now. Now you've got Abraham there, as we said. If he's starting, he's a potentially great captain for Saturday, as we know. So you've got Alisson there. This is a 4-3-3. So you've got Alisson, Gomez, Van Dijk and Alexander-Arnold. So the Liverpool defensive quadruple up with Sionju nestling in there. And then you've got Richarlison, Traore, Grealish as your midfield, a.k.a. some blokes. And then up front you've got Aguero tonight, captain, Vardy and Abraham. This is good actually, isn't it? It's a bit different. It's a bit different, but is that Liverpool defensive lineup just means you can do what you like with the others, really, because you've got that safety net.
Yeah, and the plan with this one was Aguero to Salah or Mane for that Monday game after Aguero's hopefully played both of them. And then my team really covers all of the captaincies, or most of the captaincies, with a pretty good player, and that was the idea of it. Like I've got a Vardy captain. The only one I'd be missing out potentially is a Jimenez. I'd have to cover him with Traore. And then obviously Tammy Abraham covers a couple of Chelsea games. But it's really, like we've already said, the forward defence for Liverpool just means every time they keep a clean sheet, I'm potentially 1, 2, 3, 4 players up on people who've not gone that route. And it's not just the clean sheets, they all come with bonuses as well. So packing as many Liverpool defenders into the team that I could, and then covering as many captains as I could with decent players was basically aiming that team. And this was the team that was lower down than my higher team. And now they're basically, I think they're within 3 points of each other. So the one I took a risk with has failed so far, and the team that I played safe with has actually majorly caught it up. So we'll see how it goes from here.
It is nice because I've got a Liverpool quadruple up as well, and it's so nice when they play a game and you just get 40 to 50 points just like that from just four players or so, and it's quite a nice feeling. So here's my setup, my main setup, which is as template as you can get. Apart from Fernandes now, so he's the differential. So I've got Henderson in a 4-4-2 with Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold at the back, Baldock, Sionju, and I've got De Bruyne, Traore, Grealish, Fernandes, Aguero and Salah up top. And it's De Bruyne and Aguero looking to move on, probably Jimenez and Ings and Mane. So 2 of those 3 are going to come in. The rest I'm quite happy with. I guess... No, I can't think of any other changes I would make. So I'm just so a bit boring, that one. So this is my boring team. So that's gone up to 1,400 now. So I've gone up a few hundred places and got 14 transfers left. So I don't want to take 2 risks on that. And then my second team, this is the crazier one. So I've got this nice back line of this 4 Liverpool defences you've got as well. Which really helps. Baldock in there just as sort of an enabler, and it's a 4-5-1 at the moment with Mahrez, Richarlison, Barnes, Grealish and Mount. I'm not interested in Vardy at the moment. Barnes I think is going to cover me. Mount is just going to stay for a while, I think. Grealish I'm going to keep. It's the same principle again as the main one really. Is Mahrez and Aguero out, and I think Mane for Aguero and Mahrez. I think I can do Mahrez to Ings. So I think for that one, it'll just simply be I'm going to ignore Wolves, and I've got a feeling I'm going to need some Wolves a bit further down the line. In which case, I think Mount to Traore, or possibly one of my Liverpool defenders to the likes of Bolly or Doherty. But that's
You
something.
could even do a straight swap of Van Dijk to Jimenez, for example,
Yeah.
or Robertson. They're
Yeah.
about the same price if you can find 0.5
Yeah.
or something, and go
So
three at the back.
yeah, so there's a lot of options there, but this team's about 6,000, 6,500. I've actually gone up 3,000 places in the last week, so I'm quite pleased about that. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. If I can get this team anywhere near the top 1,000, well, if I can get this team anywhere near the top 1,000, I'm delighted. But to be honest, if I can get it near the top 2,000, I'll be pretty happy, considering it's been quite far down, and I'm taking a few risks. Meanwhile, I hope we've been of help to people, and especially FPL Partridge. Good luck with your debut bit of this season, and really going for it next season. But for now, good luck with the game, Luke, and thanks for joining me.
Good luck, mate. It was a pleasure. See you next time.
See you then.